Hi, Eva. Just testing the audio. Can you hear me?
Yes, I'm so jealous of your lighting. It's so dark in here.
Don't say that. Come on.
Thank you, cool lights. Hey, hi team. How's it going?
Oh, good. How are you?
Good. How are both your videos so good? Love it. Let's give it a few more minutes for everyone to join.
Okay.
Okay, I think we can get started. If we could maybe take a few minutes at the beginning to introduce ourselves. For everyone here, I'll go quickly first. I'm Nagar. I'm the moderator, and I'm a product owner, and I help out with Product DC where I can. And you are going to be listening to Danilo and Eva at Copperleaf. So if you could take a few minutes to introduce yourselves, please.
Excellent. Thank you, Negar. My name is Danilo Prates. I've been working with Copperleaf since 2016. I initially joined the company as a senior consultant with the customer experience team. And more recently, I moved into a product manager, product innovator role, where I've been driving mainly machine learning and artificial intelligence initiatives.
I'm Everly. I'm currently the product owner at Copperleaf. I started, I think, 3 years ago, and before that, I was actually working as a UX designer. And then I moved into product management. And yeah, I am managing a newer product that we launched in 2018. Hope to share a little bit more with you in a bit. Awesome. So now if you want to share a bit about the company, what the company does, and how you do product.
Excellent. Yeah, so just to clarify, we've put together a few slides here, but we wanted to make this session as interactive as possible. I'm seeing here that the best way to communicate is using the chat. So please feel free to add questions to the chat, and we'll be just looking at the chat all the time just to make sure that we'll be answering eventually questions you might have, etc. So let me start with a brief introduction of Copperleaf and what we do. And I think that as we are talking about product, nothing better than starting with our product vision. So Copperleaf is a Vancouver-based company. So we are here in BC. This is our headquarters. And our product vision is transforming how the world sees value. Next, I'll be going through a little bit of the history of our company, but describing our solution in a very simple way. Usually, organizations, they make decisions about their capital plans or even asset investments using purely, let's say, financial aspects that they take into consideration for, deciding if they're doing or not certain projects, such as net present value or ROI, etc. So using Copperleaf, our clients are able to bring everything into a common economic scale, taking into consideration not only financial aspects, but also, let's say, safety risks that are mitigated, or even, resilience aspects that are so important considering, all the climate changes and challenges that we are facing nowadays. So basically, our solution is to help organizations to make better decisions using a value-based approach. In terms of where we are at this point, we are definitely a global company. We have clients across the whole globe in the 5 continents. And just summing up, all the clients that we have, definitely they're using Copperleaf for making better decisions on 1.4 trillion assets managed worldwide. And, as we are here in Product BC and BC, Fortis BC, the government of British Columbia, and BC Hydro, all of them are our clients as well. So in terms of awards, we are very proud of a lot of our accomplishments, and especially this one from last year, the 2020 Tech Culture of the Year. And we have been receiving many awards, throughout our journey, and just naming some of them here: Canada's top growing companies, BC's top employers, top 100 tech companies in BC, Canada's best employers for recent graduates, etc. When we are talking about approaching product, it's good to understand our origins and where everything started. So initially, we started in 2000 as a consulting to energy utilities, and our, let's say, initial client was BC Hydro, a local organization in Vancouver, and we didn't have, let's say, we were not at that stage a product organization or even a software company. We were mainly a consulting company, and we were delivering services, right? We went through some rounds of financing, and we had a new CEO and a new team that got on board around 2008. And we had our first client, which is Duke Energy in the US, that helped us to put together this, let's say, product that we launched, and it was originally named as C55. And as you see, this name C55 stayed for a while. In terms of sectors, we have been growing a lot and having clients, enterprise clients, across a lot of different sectors, including electric transmission distribution, gas sector, water sector, government IT sector, oil and gas, and more recently, transportation. And about our expansion throughout different regions, obviously we started very strong here in Canada and US, mainly North America. And we've grown a lot. Now we have clients in Australia, Latin America, Japan and Germany, New Zealand, Belgium and Spain. And I really wanted to highlight here, in terms of our product journey, in 2018, we launched Copperleaf Value as a separate product from Copperleaf C55. And now in 2021, we just decided to do product rebranding and a product split, where we are retiring the original C55, and now we are having Copperleaf Asset and Copperleaf Portfolio as our 2 brand new products, and this is already reflected in our marketing collaterals and in our website as well. So this is just to give you a kind of an overview about what Copperleaf is and where we are at the moment. Does anybody have any questions?
No questions so far. Awesome. So are your product teams split by Copperleaf Asset and Copperleaf Portfolio, or how are they split? How are product teams organized or structured?
Yeah, that's a very good question. So in terms of an employee breakdown, as you can see here in this picture, at the moment, in the end of 2020, we are around 300 employees in Copperleaf, where approximately half of them are dedicated to product development, right? So we have been heavily investing in our product development team. And as product development, we are including the product team, right? So when you look at the product development team, we do have, as you've mentioned, these three main products: Copperleaf Portfolio, Copperleaf Asset, Copperleaf Value, and Value Frameworks. And for each one of these products, we do have product managers, right? So in terms of how we work and collaborate with the different teams, obviously we follow this concept of the triad, where we have the product, engineering, and design collaborating. So you see here that we have a director of design with the design team that is responsible for the overall design system. And as you might imagine, a lot of our clients, they're very, very big, and they want solutions that are a little bit, let's say, custom to their needs. And this is why we also have a team that is more, let's say, focused on customizations and extensions that are, let's say, unique to certain particular clients, which means we have our product that is the core, but eventually we need to add some, specific features or customizations for certain clients, and for making sure that we are, following a delivery process, and we are testing all of these things, and releasing properly for each one of these clients. We do have this automation in customer delivery area. This is also in director level. I'm seeing here now some questions from the chat. How many product managers do we have for each product, and how they're split? So at the moment, we have Gabriel Lessard Cragen. He is the director of product management. Underneath him, we have three product managers. We have Paul Carter, who is responsible for Copperleaf Asset. We have Russ Others, who is responsible for Copperleaf Portfolio. Temporarily, actually, our CTO is acting as the product manager for Copperleaf Value, but this is something that might change soon, we are expecting. And we also have some product owners that are now reporting to the product managers, and they are more focused on specific components of each one of these products. So that's, let's say, high-level way how we have our product team structured in Copperleaf.
That's very impressive. We also have another question, which actually segues really well into my next question too. This says, what are the responsibilities of the customer experience team? And I'd like to know, how do you work with the different teams across the organization, as well as how do you work with the other product managers, if ever?
Okay, excellent question. So the customer experience team, they are focused on the implementation of our solution with clients, right? So let's suppose that we just sold Copperleaf Portfolio to a certain client. So usually we have within the customer experience team someone who will be taking the responsibility as the project manager for this particular implementation, and we also have some implementation consultants and product specialists that will be supporting and joining this particular implementation. Our implementations, they vary a lot depending on the complexity of the implementation. They could take, let's say, from a few months up to several years, and being rolled out in different phases as well. So yeah, and Eva is just mentioning here, there's a fun fact that there's something that we are very proud of, is that we have 100% client retention, which means that every organization that has ever purchased Copperleaf products is still our clients, which is amazing. Yeah, and we are very proud of that.
Yes, another fun fact, it's kind of a double-edged sword. It's great that we have 100% retention rate. At the same time, when the clients are asking custom things, then the opportunity cost of losing one client is really, really high. I think that's a bit of a unique challenge for us. And there's also another question, or maybe a comment. The split between product owner and product manager is a long-standing question among Agile and Scrum. Perhaps we could elaborate a little bit on. I could speak on maybe the product owner. I know a lot of companies, maybe they only have a product manager who probably have the responsibilities of what we do in Copperleaf as for PO plus PM. But in Copperleaf, PO usually deals with more internal facing work. So they work with the engineering team very, very closely. They focus on the execution and the short-term roadmap. And right now, the product managers are more focusing on the external facing. So they do a lot of discovery work, talking to customers, and then kind of work with the PO very closely as well to execute those features. But they are the people who kind of looking at the bigger picture. But we try to change the model where Daniel will touch a little bit on the triad model where we want to include a product person. That could be a product or a PO or PM, and then also an engineer, a designer, in that model to bring those people closer to customers so that it's not just the PM who's kind of sharing the customer feedback, kind of hand down the feedback to the development team. And that's something we are changing slowly, I would say. The thing in the past is still a bit of waterfall feedback, but that's definitely changing. In the last year, we have I would say we have made a lot of changes. We could touch on a little on how we get feedback from customers, but that's something we're definitely working on.
Yeah, before we actually get to the next question in the chat here, I think, Hava, you're going into next section that Danilo might also hopefully have slides on, but how do you learn about customer needs? How do you work with the customer? And is it both the product manager and the product owner, or is it just the product manager? How does that work?
Okay, that's a very good question. Let me just jump into one slide that might help to clarify this. So first of all, as Eva said, I think we are changing a lot of our current focus. So far, I think Copperleaf, we have been quite of a client-driven company. And now we are transitioning to becoming a more, let's say, market-driven organization, right? But still, we really wanted to keep the 100%, client retention. This is really, really important for us. And in terms of product strategy, we are always trying to find this, best balance between growth and retention. In terms of existing clients' needs, we have, I would say, three powerful way of receiving inputs from them. One of them is what we call Copperleaf Labs, which means for every new feature or every new product initiative, we engage with clients and we make sure that they are participating in the development of the solution, right? Actively validating prototypes, sharing data with us in a way that we can actively collect feedback, etc. And many clients actually volunteer to be part of, the initiative that we are running within Copperleaf Labs. We also have an annual summit that we run every year. Actually, last year was a big success. All the event went remote, and we had almost 400 participants. It was absolutely great. But usually we do the event here in Vancouver. Unfortunately, this didn't happen last year or even this year. It will be still remote. But the Copperleaf AIPM Summit is definitely a great event where, we bring members of the community. They share their experiences and, things that they wanted to get improved, etc. So it's a great way also to collect and receive some feedback from the community. And we also run a kind of a survey every year, trying to understand what are the top 10 community needs in a way that this helps us to better understand and navigate where, what are their main priorities and what are the things that they are mainly struggling with. So we can add initiatives into the Copperleaf Labs and follow this collaborative process where we'll be doing discovery, prototyping until we validate those ideas within our community. And this is something very, very important for us. We believe that the Copperleaf community is very strong and it has a real value. This makes a huge difference for us, especially when we need clients to give, for example, good references about us, etc. This Copperleaf community effect is really a differentiator. Yeah.
To just add on top of that, sort of what the day-to-day looks like in terms of customer discovery work. We're not really a B2C company, so we can't just kind of reach out to anyone to get feedback. But we in our design process. There's still kind of steps where we want to make sure that we talk to customers, and a lot of them are actually open to talk to us and provide feedback. One challenge is to deal with like cybersecurity and all the contracting things, but we have figured it out. And to kind of streamline that process. And if you're interested in what in knowing what we're using, we use Dovetail to record the meetings with clients. And one of the challenges we have in Copperleaf is that all different teams are talking to the different customers. Like, how do you actually have a centralized place to understand the feedback from different customers? And now we're trying to push out Dovetail, hopefully to be the hub to have all the data. So I guess in short, we don't talk to customer, or at least for myself, I don't talk to customer. But if there's a significant feature or problem we're addressing, we'll definitely reach out to facilitate some sort of workshops.
That's great. So let's say you have all of this information now from the customer. How do you prioritize the customer needs and decide what to build and not to build?
Yeah, that's a very good question. I'll leave this for Eva, because she's the product owner for Copperleaf Value, and we do as much as we can what we call dog fooding, which is using our own solution to help us to make our decisions, also those related to our product roadmap.
Yeah, for sure. There's always a daily battle where there are requests coming in from different stakeholders. So we prepare a really fun slide. Many of you probably resonate with these kind of questions or requests. So like Danilo said, we have a dog fooding kind of situation. At Copperleaf, we have a framework called Value Framework, where it's a framework that we try to compare different aspects into a common economic scale. So initially, this is for clients, complex organizations, where they need to compare the benefit of let's say reducing risk versus compliance versus shareholder. How do we compare all these things? So this value framework, it's a methodology that is developed in Copperleaf, where we could bring in all different aspects and being able to compare on a single economic scale. So to put it in a simpler way, it's basically a very, you could think of it as a very complex AHA scoring system, where you can put in different parameters and kind of get some output, so you get your scoring. So if Daniel, you want to click on the next slide, just want to show what it could look like. Oh, or maybe not the one. Yes, this one. With Value Framework, you can set the strategic goals for your organization. So you could see that at Copperleaf, at the top level, strong Copperleaf culture, lasting customer relationships. Those are the organizational strategic objectives. And underneath it, we have identified how we want to capture those values that will contribute to those objectives. So we configure the AHA scoring system just the way that we lay out the value framework and also the objectives, so that it led us to prioritize the feature and decide what not to build. And I mean, the scoring gives us really good sense of what's more important, but of course, we don't just blindly follow the score and just do the first thing. I think what's important to go through this exercise of scoring things is that it really forces us to talk to more people and do more research to understand how we could answer different aspects. As like we have to think about cybersecurity, what customer value it actually brings to people, and then all different aspects.
Amazing. And you've done this on AHA?
Yes, we are hoping to use our own product, which is called, I guess we will leave portfolio, where we'll be basically putting all the AHA idea backup solution. And we have not fully rolled it out yet, but that is the plan.
That is awesome. Being cautious of time, we do have 4 minutes. So if you have any questions, do ask. But just one last question from me. Can you share a past failure from your product team and what you learned from that?
Oh, absolutely.
Where do we start?
Where do we start? Okay. So as I've mentioned before, in the past, we were a very client-focused organization, right? So let me give you an example. We were really willing to get into a certain geographic area and into a certain market. And our first potential client is a very, let's say, mature organization. And they had, let's say, a lot of specific use cases that only they had according to their level of maturity. And as part of the initial agreement, basically they told us that they were only, going for Copperleaf if we were building something that would address a need that they had in the past for a specific thing that they developed in house. So basically, we received a specification from the client saying, "Yes, build that." So I think our mistake in that moment is that we built that using their specification as the main input, right? So it's definitely not something that we wanted to repeat in the future, because obviously we are a product company. Everything that we build, obviously wanted to add value in the process. We really believe that actually the value of Copperleaf is the value that is created to our clients. And this became quite challenging, to scale that piece or this component of our solution to other clients, because it was just very specific to this client. Still, I think it was good because we were able to successfully, start in that region, and we've grown a lot. And without the good references from this client, we wouldn't be able to, achieve all the success that we've been having. But still, if I would go back, definitely, I would follow a slightly different approach when building, this particular component, rather than just taking their spec and building off for that. Yeah.
That's a really good one. I think that's very common for early stage startups too. When you're trying to get money, you'll just build anything as long as they give you money, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
Amazing. Well, thank you, Danilo and Eva. Are there any questions, feel free to turn on your audio and video, or Danilo and Eva, if you have anything else you wanted to share. We have like 1 minute.
Thank you so much for joining this session, and please let's stay connected. Copperleaf is growing a lot. We had 100% growth from last year. And yeah, there's a lot of exciting opportunities ahead of us.
Yes, and my team is looking for a product designer. If you know anyone or yourself, let us know.
Amazing. Thank you both, and thank you everyone for joining us. I think we can head back to the stage.